Very good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching. Welcome back to Vito Africa. This is Vito Lifestyle brought to you by Emmanuel Gona. Kama kawaida siku ya leo lazima tuguse mambo mawili matatu ambayo yatakuwa yanacheza pale kwa SDGs, na guess what, leo tuko na guest. Sasa tutamuita tena. Of course. So kabla tuseme kile kitu chenye kitakuwa tunaongelea siku ya leo, bado tu kuna mambo mengi sana ambayo anatakiwa kutupasha. Kumbuka amekuwa hapa mara ya mwisho ilikuwa was it May? Kitambo sana. Sasa lazima tu tujue kwamba alikuwa wapi hapa katikati. Ni muhimu sana tuweze kujua. Kumbuka kwamba tuko live pale ndani ya YouTube at Vito Africa, na vile vile unaweza tufuatilia kupitia mitandao ya kijamii, Twitter at Vito Africa 1, Facebook at Vito Africa na TikTok at Vito Africa. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much. Yeah, happy to be back.
Kumbusha watazamaji hapa jina bwana.
Yeah, my name is Queen Elizabeth Hare and I work with Arocha Kenya. For those who are new in Vito Africa, yes, I'm an environmental education officer, creation of awareness, and informing the community members about the environment. Yeah.
First question first.
Yes.
Ghana.
Yeah, greetings from Ghana, all the subscribers in Vito Africa and all the new subscribers. Yeah, I was visiting Arusha, Ghana. Like what I said, I work with Arusha Kenya, so we have other Arusha Africa organization, South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, Uganda. Yeah. So we always have an annual conference for all environmental educators in Arusha organizations. So the previous year we were in Uganda, so this year we were in Ghana. So we come together to share our positive and success stories, our challenges, and also learn from each other any new methods, any new programs. And also we discuss climate change, SDGs, fundraising, communication, like how we should be involved further in different thematic areas in terms of the environment. Yeah, and also visiting Arusha, Ghana and seeing their office and how they operate. And yeah, I visited Accra. We have an office there as Arusha, Ghana. They have an office in the city, and then they have another office in Kumasi, the famous town in Ghana. And we also went to Chebi. So the resources in these three different areas, though they also have an office in a place called Damango, where there is the Mole National Park. So in Kumasi, there is the biggest or the greatest lake. It's called Lake Bosumtwe, which is in Kumasi, yeah. And then in Chebi, Arusha, Ghana is there because of the forest. Right now, as we speak, they have a challenge. They are advocating for the stop of illegal mining of gold in Atewa forest. So, like we have Arab Kosokoke here in Kenya coast, but in Ghana, Chebi, it's not a national forest yet or a national reserve yet, but there is this famous Atewa forest. So yeah, so these are different resources that are within these different cities.
Karibu tena. Of course pale kwa YouTube tayari nimeona watu wamekukaribisha kwa wingi. We have around 10 comments tayari, na hata bado ndio tunaanza, hata tujasema leo tunaongelelea nini. Na pia ukataja forest pale, nikakumbuka while you are away. Ama ulikuwa umerudi, nilisikia sasa kuna ile lift ya ile ban ya logging.
About the lift of the ban, was I in Ghana or here? Maybe nilikuwa around but sikuwa nimetravel. But I think we discussed about it.
No, nilikuwa bado. Sasa ndio sasa kitu kimesomesha vizuri. Sasa kimesomesha vizuri. But before hata tufike hapo, allow me tuingie hapa kwa comments kidogo, kwa sababu vile zilivyomiminika hapa na hisi kama zitaweza kutushinda hapa. Mpenzi mtazamaji, asante sana kwa sababu naona tayari pale umeweza kuzimimina sana. Madaraka tena nasema Amin, welcome again Queen.
Thank you.
Dr. Munga anasema welcome back our Vito Queen. Wewe sasa ni wa Vito kabisa. Benjamin Yeri pale amesema welcome back Queen. Hey, Laban Kiraga amesema I salute you my sister Ngate family hoye.
Thank you, brother.
Rose CD pale anasema karibu tena Vito. Asbel Kemboy anasema following live, welcome Queen. Salmist pale anasema welcome back Queen. Tuned in all the way from Gahaleni. Asanteni sana watazamaji. Nafikiria sasa leo si iko moto sana. Hata sijui sasa tutaanzia wapi. So kidogo tu neno moja, sentence moja, neno moja najua haitakuwa fit.
Okay.
Hiyo logging una support kweli?
Okay, I think we had a discussion about it.
Yeah, but it
was very little.
Yeah.
So the point was, I take it back to whoever. I know the president, but through advisors.
Yeah.
Towards supporting logging. So my question was, as per now, I don't know. We were saying we are looking forward to have a 10% cover.
Yeah.
So as per now, where are we? And what is the assessment of any restoration of efforts that have been done? But at what rate are these trees growing? What is the monitoring tool for all these trees that we have been planted? I am aware of trees that have been planted as a way of reforestation. But what capacity in terms of rainfall do they offer right now as we speak? These are questions to scientists who can inform policymakers to such a statement of uplifting the ban. So as per now, I don't have that, but I am aware that we were not at 10%. We are not at 10% cover.
Sure.
So if we go to a point of degrading even the few that we have, then where are we? And if we are talking of maybe some trees like the indigenous trees that take almost 15 years for maturity, or even 20, then
they are saying 25 to 30 years.
25 to 30 years. So how many liters or millimeters of rainfall do they provide? And right now there's a tree that maybe has been contributing to that rainfall that we've been receiving right now, and then it's cut down.
Okay, thank you so much. Our dear viewer, today we wanted to just have a brief talk on the something to deal with the nuclear energy. We've had some, I won't call it a hearsay, because since 2021, I think there has been a story that we expect to have a plant. It should either be in Kwale or Kilifi. But recently we've had a community in Uyombo who are actually against it. And I know as a stakeholder, I'm certainly sure you're aware of this, and that's what we are supposed to look at currently. So briefly, what is this that people are crying of? About the nuclear, the Uyombo nuclear plant, something of sort.
Okay. So yeah, I've been speaking a lot of English. Yeah, so I will start by sharing. Recently, we had a meeting at Turtle Bay Beach Resort, and a big up to Turtle Bay Beach Resort and Watamu residence team, who went ahead and called the key members who are involved in all this. That includes county government, and we had the director of energy, urbanization, and something. I can't remember the whole name. And then we had a regional director from the nuclear plant organization. They called it NUPEA. They're looking forward to bring to have as in an assessment of the plant in Uyombo. So before we started the meeting, it was made clear that these guys were here, or this team was here to tell us why did they go ahead and thought of a nuclear plant for energy source in the country. So just to share with the community members and even stakeholders who are listening today, is the director started by sharing about, are we aware of how many megawatts of energy in terms of from geothermal and solar? We have solar at Bolala. And how many megawatts of energy is that producing to the country? what is the population of our country right now, and is it enough for the industries that we have and the energy that they need for that. And then they also shared about the plan for universal electrifying most of the households in Kenya back in when the President Uhuru and our current President Ruto had that agenda. So with population increase gives a pressure on employment, and then that will be increase of industrialization and all that. How many megawatts are needed for them to run these industries and all that? So when they did the assessments, they found that we produce around 6,000 megawatts in a, if not in a month, in a year, which is not enough, because they also shared about from the assessment they have done. They noticed that the power cuts that we are getting around that January till now has been so high, and everyone is like, Kenya Power and all that. But then we need to be informed, and mostly I normally say information is key. So a question that would have gone to us is like, what is happening, and would anyone want to know? So I'm glad I got informed that day that sometimes you are leaving, everything is fine, yes, but you also like need to know even how much electricity do you use in a day, and which is the resource, even if it's water. You just talked about logging trees, rainfall from trees and all that, so information is key. So after they saw that, there is a board that always advise the president, so they thought of, can we get at least to inject 1,000 megawatts for electricity.
So just before you talk of the 1,000,
Yeah,
how much more do we need?
I think we need the 1,000 from the assessment. I was just listening at this point.
Okay.
So they say they want to inject 1,000 megawatts.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we've been producing 6,000 megawatts. So they also connected it with our countries outside Kenya, like China and Ukraine. They're the most industrialized countries right now as we speak. And to some point, they have nuclear plants, I think.
Even South Africa.
Even South Africa. So to some
and,
point,
I think Egypt is also they are constructing one too.
Yeah, so to some point, these officers, some of them went to these countries for assessment, and some were sharing that when they were asked how much do we produce as a country, they said 6,000 megawatts. The whole country, I think, of which he said it was a shame, because they asked, is this a single plant? As in, if it's a geothermal plant, is this a single geothermal? All the country, how much? So he felt like it's a shame, yes, but that was the situation, how it is. So from that, they thought of these 1,000 megawatts. Where do we produce them from? So I'm understanding there is energy efficient sources like solar. We have the wind, from windmills, and then from water, the geothermal one and all that. So they say that still it's not enough. Like the solar system, or the solar energy that we have in Baolala, it needs thousands of acres for you to just get 40 megawatts, I think, if not 400 megawatts. So these were statistics they were mentioning, yes, but then they were trying to explain why did they think of the nuclear energy. So from solar, like time like now it's raining, so there is not enough sun.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Remember, we are live on YouTube at Vito Africa, and you can as well follow us on the other social media platforms: Facebook at Vito Africa, TikTok at Vito Africa, and Twitter at Vito Africa 1. Let's look at the comments that we are having here. Benjamin Katana is saying, welcome Queen Wise Comedia. Kizungu kikiflow leo, I know I should speak with accent. I gotta say the program is absolutely amazing. You all know what I'm saying. Hey, Unaona sasa watu imebidi waanze kuongea Kisungu. Asante sana Wisco Media. True nuclear project is good, but to be honest, with how we have seen negligence from the likes of KPLC, honestly, a small unattended leakage of that stuff and we are all gone. Then Lucky Kazungu amesema tuned. Asante sana. So now umeongelea kuhusu ile power inakatika sometimes, especially kama kuna game ya Manchester na Arsenal.
Yeah.
Na indeed from here too, it's clearly showing us that we actually need your addition. So okay, from the engagement that you are having,
Yeah.
what was the reaction from the different stakeholders?
Yeah. Okay, so that was the bit of them explaining to us why they think of nuclear energy. So we had different stakeholders in here and community members, even from the residents in Watamu, and mostly conservation. So where they have cited Uyombo, and then for someone who will be like, hii Kenya yote waliamua tu Uyombo. How did they get to choose Uyombo? Yani waliketi tu wakaona wakuja tuweke plan tukwa tuwe.
Yes.
So that question was posed again, and for someone who doesn't know, and this is the first time, this was it. They shared that kuna experts in the country, by the way. People are doing different jobs, which is we appreciate that. So GIS experts, they are normally given this task to wafanye mitambo yao hapo paka wapate place ambayo ina qualify all those criteria. So after they did that, and it should be along the coastline all the way from Kwale to Lamu huko.
Yeah, actually by 2021 they were talking of Kwale and Kilifi.
Yeah.
But they hadn't identified the exact location.
Yeah, so maybe ni kuna technology sometimes. Sure. You have to do your mathematics very well.
Yeah.
So so after they did that, they say that Uyombo was the perfect, and hiyo ndio ili meet all the criteria. So from conservationists, I'll group them pole in terms of conservationists, some of the industrial or hoteliers around this is business, and then community members who are also presented there, what they shared. So I am a conservationist, and Uyombo is part of the Watamu Marine Protected Areas. And we have part of it in the reserve, which it's a partial tech zone, and we have part of it in the national park, which is a no-tech zone. We have different corals in this protected area. And we have a certain big corals, they are called cabbage corals, and they have really played part as a breeding ground for different fish species and sharks and phytoplankton and zooplankton. These are the smallest organisms in the sandy bottoms of these our ecosystem as the beach. So having such a plant around there, that means after they do the process and all that, there is water, around 7,000 liters of water used to cool the turbines. So some community members were like, so maji inapitia hapo ndani ya hiyo waste, nuclear waste, and then it will be released into the ocean. So the environment expert who had been sent to also clarify on environment aspects shared that, one, everyone should be sure that this water doesn't get in contact with the nuclear waste, but it's outside the turbines, so it cools, and specifically is for cooling the turbines before it's released. And then they share that it's released, it's cooled to a point after it has cooled the engine. Water itself, the water is cooled to 4 degrees Celsius and then released into the ocean, whereby marine research and experts says that right now with global warming, we are trying to reduce the heat or the warmth into even below 2 degrees because it's already affecting corals.
Sure.
So what about these 4 degrees Celsius? That stood hanging, and they say they will clarify more about that. Like, we will go into the memorandum part. Some facts were really true, and we have to take into consideration about that. We're already suffering of some species that are critically endangered in the park, and with such, we might end up losing precious species and ecosystem with what we have, and that still contributes into tourism, contributes into fishermen, and this is livelihood around here.
Yeah.
So those were some. That is just conservation. Yeah.
What about the rest? Because now I'm worried. So the marine ecosystem is at risk in this case.
Is at risk. So after that, we went into community. So community was sharing about, one, how many community members are aware of what is happening. Sometimes there are rumors, and rumors can traumatize a community member into what I'm hearing. It's like hii ni kifo, hii hata si energy, like someone who has zero clue about it.
And in fact nafikiria hiyo that's the biggest challenge ambayo tuko nayo sahi. Because sahi kwa social media ni petitions to petitions, people are against it. So if you try to look into it, probably a very small percentage wako na hiyo knowledge about the whole thing. But unapata tu watu wanaambiwa this si mzuri, hiyo ni kifo, just the way you are putting it, ni kifo ni kifo. So I think it's very important watu at least pia wakuwe wanajua, and that's why you are here too. Ndiyo sasa yale mawili matatu ambayo tunaweza share, at least watu wajue before pengine assign ile petition, akuwe na idea kidogo, ajue hii inamaanisha hivi. So as much as pengine mtu ataenda akasign, lakini ajue pia ako na hiyo knowledge. Otherwise kwa petitions nyingi tu ni kitu moja tu, hiyo ni kifo. Kwa hiyo sasa mtu akikufuadia wewe kitu yenye unafanya ni kusign tu. Nipitie tena comments mbili pengine, alafu tutakuwa tunaendelea na wale stakeholders wengine. Tumesema kuna community members na watu wa hoteli hapo. Of course the CSOs lazima pia wako na maneno mingi hapo. The county government pia wanasemaje wao kama wao. So Gonaldo Hagi is saying I'm getting you live and clear. Welcome back Queen. Mwalimu Kadevu anasema hapa ni kisungu tupu. Karibu, usijali, tutachanganya sana. Najua Queen bado unajua Ghana lazima ilikuwa ni kizungu tupu, si ndio? So bado anajaribu kurudi back to nini. But usijali tu. Of course YouTube siku hizi pia wanapiana maneno pale. Ukiweka vizuri tutasoma moja moja utashika. Otherwise najua kana flow fiti sana. Yes. So community wao ni hivi tu vyenye tunajua, watu wanajua ni kifo. Ama pia wamesoma kitu kingine.
So I'm a conservationist, but I'm also a community member. So thinking of that, mimi nilienda ile meeting ya appreciations to Tatobei na our residents in Watamu, of which they really ranked it in terms of they were to go and share a report that uko kuna jeshi, uko kuna watu like they really want to be informed. So many questions were raised, and this was really good to show that people are concerned and they will want to be informed. So as a community member, I went to this meeting. Pia mimi like najua hizo effects of nuclear into the environment, but I didn't have any clue about megawatts and energy, which is all connected. And that Emmanuel takes us to getting informed. Plus, how do we come together as team members? Imagine what was funny is, what I found funny is, now we are talking of nuclear energy and the harms and all that. But again, I'm thinking of it in terms of, imagine it's just nuclear energy and energy in the county, apart from, as in climate change, iko pale bado. So climate change is already something that brings every stakeholder together. So before even we talk of climate change globally, hata hii energy, it's also bringing different partners or different stakeholders together. Because ikianza kuongelelewa, we will see the effects, yes, but again at the end of the day, what's the solution? Like, where do we meet and still it's a win-win situation? That was just by the way. Let's go to the community. So community waliuliza kuhusu information yenye wako nayo about nuclear. Do they understand why? And once you share something about any idea, you have to start with the why. Make people understand first, and then someone can give a point, and someone can also raise the concerns and all that. So wengi waliuliza is emergency. Ukiambiwa nuclear tena imekuwa huko Hiroshima and what, na iliua more than 5,000 billion people. it's bad. So community walikuwa like let's go to the emergency part. Do we have the capacity of, in case of a disaster, are we prepared enough? So and then two, we know the state of corruption within this country. So with corruption, watu hupewa tenders, na mtu kwa sababu anaangalia pesa, he doesn't care. At the end of the day, it's money, it's what I want, and it's money. So are we ready to really monitor these tenders that are going to be given to these our like experts and all that, and are they going to do their job very well? So okay, this one ilijibiwa, na at first it was, for one who took it personal, ingekuwa like, oh no, you shouldn't be saying that, but ilijibiwa in a point of when we are really concerned into, sometimes kuna hiyo uoga ya making a step because you are like nikikanyanga nitachomeka, but sometimes they are saying zenye zinasema risking is also good. So he shared in terms of the first day we had the first flight in Kenya, when people are like, hii mekuwa, now you can go, and you really need to travel to the other point. Did you think of EKQ? Were they really having experts and all that? Or sometimes we just pay tickets and fly all the way, and we are like, aeroplanes, planes, ziko sawa, and all the logistics ziko sawa. So what he meant is, sometimes, yes, we really need to look at the emergency preparedness, disaster, and all that. But then we need to see what is forcing us to go there, and do we want to make that step? Though the community still pushed on, can we have more information about how prepared we are as a county, we are as a nation towards preparedness? Kumekuwa na floods, kumekuwa na inja, wakati wa ganze, whatever. That is a disaster. So when people try to see how such disasters were dealt, as in people dealt with them, like the government or the policy makers or the leaders, there is that fear of, are we really able to respond to a nuclear disaster from a nuclear plant, So some asked, in case of such a risk, how far is the government responsible to the community? And they said 1.5 kilometers. So kujiuliza tu, how many community members are within 1.5 kilometers? Getting that population, watasaidiwa na nini the first time after an accident may happen? So they talked of an immediate take of iodine tablets. So once iodine tablets is given to these community members, hii disaster inafika to how many kilometers? Acha wale 1.5 juu laws na policy imesema. What distance itafika? Then they said it's 5 kilometers. So after wale wa 1.5, wale wa 5 kilometers watafanyiwa nini?
The rest of the
3.5, and how many are they? Because hii tablet inafaa kwenda kwa kila mmoja wa mwenye ako within ile 1.5 kilometer. So hii 5 kilometers kutakuwa nini? So with that, it was still pushed to a emergency and disaster, which of this case hawakuwa kwa hii meeting, and we are looking forward to have another meeting. So that's till now ni bit ya community.
so hapo kidogo hapo kulikuwa kuna issue sasa hapo yenye haikuwa najibu hiyo. Sijui tuongelee kuhusu wanabiashara wao walichukuliaje.
Yeah, so to the business partners, kuna mtu aliraise kuhusu tourism. So for tourism, right now we are known that some tourists know that they've ever come to Kenya, and they know we use geothermal, solar, and all that. So kuna watu, like what I shared, akisikia nuclear ni kifo. So with such a scenario, will we still have, knowing that Uyombo and Watamu area is a tourism attraction area? So with this scenario, kwanza wenye wanakuja kuona turtles, kuona the corals and all that beauty, are we safe that we will still have this beautiful Watamu ecosystem? And then two is story ya nuclear ni kifo. Will that make some tourists waanze kuresist kukuja Kenya Watamu, because they are like, naweza enda huko nitoke huko na kitu imekaa kwa body yangu, because we are talking of the radioactive rays and all that. So am I safe? Am I safe to go and stay in these hotels near the creek and all that? So they were like, this thing can affect and all that. So how can we share more about this, even as we ask our tourists to come and to know that they are safe and all that? So kwa hii wali push into we know we have experts in terms of emergency and disaster. So yeah, because industry pia, do we still need that energy for the industries? So where do we meet? Then a question was posed into any business owner or industry or whatever. Are you ready to have like 100% energy? You need it in your business or industry, but are you ready to have 70% of your energy from energy efficient system like solar? You buy these big panels and all that, and then 30% from geothermal. Even ndio tutakuwa tunasaidiana. So it's still a point of how do we meet. We understand that kuna wazungu, kuna tourists wanaweza kuwa hawatakuja because of the nuclear plant, but then that doesn't solve the point that in a year and the population increase, we still need 1,000 megawatts of energy to be injected. So where do we, of which it's so interesting. I found it very interesting to be in such a chat, because it brings like, we at the end of the day, I learned that we need to work together and to give solutions.
Asante sana. Pengine tupitie comments 2-3 pale, alafu tutakuwa tunamalizia pengine. David Amani pale amesema a very informative show. I agree. The community needs to get facts right about this project, the pros and cons, because truth is we need more energy. Ramesh Flavor pale amesema nawategea hadi tamati, gotea madamu. Madamu amegoteka gote. Patrick Kilumo pale amesema following the conversation, big up guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Unakumbuka Patrick Kilumo?
Patrick.
And by the way, Patrick Kilumo squeeze ana follow sana.
Yeah.
Mmefanya kazi nzuri sana kufanya Patrick afollow kila siku. Hope Tumaini pale pia amesema joining now, karibu sana. So pengine katika hiyo conversation yote ama the whole engagement, kulikuwa kuna watu ambao pia walikuwa wamekuja tu na ile ya kwamba wanaiona hiyo kitu kama iko sawa.
Yeah, it was interesting to see the faces when we were waiting for the officers. And then when it was made clear that, hey guys, this team is here so that we can have a conversation and understand first, and then we can raise any questions or any concerns that we have. It was very calm compared to zile fujo ziko huko kwa petition and all that, of which still I fall into information is key, Emmanuel.
Sure.
So sometimes you can be rambling and all that, but again, conversations, understanding each other and win-win situation is very key. So to me as a conservationist and as even a youth, it gave me a challenge understanding that apart from just enjoying, I need electricity or energy for my laptop in a day, I need to charge my phone, as in thinking of it like you need to cook at home, so I was like, okay, how much energy do I use? What is my means of what do I use to cook? So kuna plant hapa, this is just a story. Kuna plant hapa Jiwe Leupe. For those who are in Watamu, and even if you're in Kilifi or whichever place you are, if you visit in Watamu, there is a lady called Jess. So Jess akona planta ya biogas pale. So hiyo biogas anaelezea watu kuihusu, and biogas is an type of energy too. So she's cooking her foods kwa restaurant through biogas as a way to showcase energy efficient sources and evil. Like mwenye ana feel I want to take my food from an energy efficient place, they visit Jess, and no, but anyone can visit and see it. So this is something yenye wanatoa from waste food. So that gives a question of how much food do you waste in a day? So your food inasiagwa, inaekwa hapo kwa machine, and then ina break pole pole na ina produce gas. And alikuwa ananiambia from the plant that she has, it offers her energy for 6 hours in a day. and haina smoke, haina nini, like alafu inatoa na fertilizer. So for the fertilizers that zimekuwa huko zingine zikisprayiwa zina kill pollinators like bees and all that, for this biogas, and I know there is lots and lots of what people are doing to help hii gurudumu moja ya gas, gurudumu moja ya jiko energy and all that, so I took it as a challenge in terms of stakeholders, community members, youth groups, initiatives zenye ziko. When we talk about nuclear plant na information to community, I'm trying to be in the shoes of both parties, and I always like being neutral and understanding both parties. That is me. So najiuliza, hii county government, how many are they as like leaders na nini too, as in eka community inje, including any hotelier, what youths and all that. We are so many. So them alone, can they be able to share information that mimi nifikirie wale my grandmother who is in Uyombo, maybe Roka, that area, atapata hiyo information in detail through radios, systems ziko, TVs ziko, leo tuko hapa Vito Africa viko. But this gave me a challenge in terms of hata zile youth group leaders ama community groups zenye ziko, wale leaders wakipata hiyo information, chiefs, everyone plays a role to make sure this information gets as deep as in the grassroots. Then we will be in a position, tutakuwa imara sana.
With umetaja leaders, ukanikumbusha, were they present, the local administration? Chiefs maybe?
No, we didn't have a chief, by the way. We didn't, yeah, but we had some youths. Maybe kulikuwa na representative mwenye ametumwa, but tulikuwa tunasema majina, hatukuwa na hiyo timing ya kusema I'm representing so and so. But yeah, leaders were stakeholders and all that. So this gives us a question in terms of how our leaders sasa basi wako wapi?
Pengine wacha, lakini tusiwaongelele, pengine waliambiwa, pengine hawakuambiwa. Hiyo pengine tunaweza kosa kuambia. So maybe tukienda kumalizia, of course najua ni information nyingi ambao pengine hatungeweza kuishia yote tu kwa leo. But of course uko hapa na najua utakuja. So I know we'll have a lot to share. But pengine tukienda kumalizia, wewe sasa utakuwa naambia nini jamii pengine ama wale wahusika wakuu pia kutoka ile side? Sijui kama maoni yako yatakuwa yapi, na hivyo tu ushauri wako kwa jamii mzima.
Okay. What I will say is, I started by saying information is key. So mimi tayari I've given myself a challenge. I do create awareness to community members, to kids in schools, to fishermen around the creek. So once I go out to share about our precious ecosystem and we working, can I also have some 5 minutes and just ask them, have you heard about this and this? What's your take and how do you understand that? That is already something that I've just shared about me. Now into a challenge I'll give into everyone who is listening right now. If it's a concern to you, what's your challenge too in terms of how can you take part? I know the county office is big and the leaders sometimes they are very busy, ama they fly out of the country as they are doing this assessment. But then can we give a call to these our leaders, kama nimekuambia regional whatever director wa hiyo Nupea, and from what I heard they are open to calls and coming to explain as long as it's early in advance and you have time. So even hata a challenge, a campaign to hapa Gede ama Watamu, and they are able to share more about it. Or can we take the challenge, Emmanuel, Vito Africa and be able to share what I've already shared? Right now we are doing something,
Sure.
This is nice. I appreciate you for calling me to come and share about what I learned that day. So my take is into, can we try and tuchimbe hii information tupate tuelewe before we speak too much, and try to see even the effects. And then lastly, a very important key thing, tuliambiwa memorandum hiyo siku hapo we can write hii pia ni information yenye hata sijui community wao wanajua. You come together as a group, you write zile concerns, why wouldn't you want this, unaona wapi pale ambapo inaona ni key na kila mtu ameraise about hiyo, kila mtu aweke dole yake hapo. It's waga inaenda into bill after bill, inaenda hiyo process and all that, but waga ina start from a memorandum. So wakifika hiyo point, zile meetings wataweza kushare that there is a group that is sharing about this. Kama mnaweza andika, mnaweza type any place mkipata campaign ya hiyo nuclear, you can go hand over that sheet of paper about why do you oppose, you don't want nuclear and all that. But again, thank you so much. Thank you, Vito Africa. Always I feel happy to be home to share information, and hi to shout out to all subscribers.
Asante sana. Asante sana. Naona Ghana pia imekuweka vizuri sana. Thank you so much for coming and sharing of course the information ambayo nafikiria watu wengi pale nje kidogo kumekuwa na sintofahamu nyingi, lakini kwa sasa kidogo utakuwa uko na mawili matatu ambayo yanaweza kusaidia kwa njia moja ama nyingine. Kumbuka Queen hapa ameshauri kitu kimoja. Tujaribu sana kutafuta information, otherwise tukikosa hiyo information pengine tunaweza fanya vitu ambavyo havitakuwa vinatusaidia sana. Na kwa mpenzi mtazamaji, ni kushukuru kwa kuweza kujiunga nasi tangia mwanzo wa kipindi hadi sasa ambapo tumemaliza. Tukutane tena wiki inayokuja siku kama ya leo ndani ya Vito